Hi students, am I visible, audible and visible to you? Hi everyone. Hello. So hi everyone. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Hi. So am I audible and visible? Please let me know in the chat section, am I audible and visible? And students, today it is the part 2 of structural organization in animals. So today we are going to start from the connective tissue, then muscular tissue and the neural tissue. This is what we are going to complete. Okay. So we have already completed the epidermal tissue in the last session. So kindly revise it. I have mentioned all the possible examples there. So you just need to revise it again and again, and one or two questions can come from this particular part. So here in structural organization in animals, we have one more part, that is of cockroach. Okay, but cockroach we are not going to complete now. We will discuss it later, right, just near to the examination, because you will only get one question from that part. So at that time we will complete it. Fine. Yes, but your NEET syllabus is not yet reduced. Who told you that it is reduced? It is not yet reduced. Okay. So let's start the class. So now please give me the example of brush bordered cuboidal epithelium. Where will you find brush bordered cuboidal epithelium? Can you just give me the example? Can you just give me the example? The example of brush bordered cuboidal epithelium. Quickly, and then we will start the next part. Brush bordered cuboidal. I'm not saying columnar. It is cuboidal epithelium. It is cuboidal epithelium, brush bordered cuboidal epithelium it is. Of course, it is the proximal convoluted tubule from this particular part. So you are going to get the examples only, right, bache? So please revise it properly. So today we are going to start with the connective tissue. But before that, let me tell you one thing. See, you know that what is the tissue? Tissue is the group of cells. Yes. What is tissue? Tissue is the group of cells having similar structure, having similar function and the same origin, isn't it? So when you talk about the tissue, the structure of the cells that are making the tissue, it can vary. Maybe it is similar, maybe dissimilar. And even function can be same, cannot be same, but always the origin is always going to be same. This is what you need to keep in your mind, right? The origin will always be same when you are talking about what? When you people are talking about the, yes, when your people are talking about the tissue. So majorly we talk about the epidermal tissue. Yes, we talk about the epidermal tissue, right? Then connective tissue, right? Then muscular tissue, and then comes the neural tissue, or you can say that nervous tissue. So in the last class we have covered the epidermal tissue, and I told you already that when you talk about the epidermal tissue, it is made up of all the three germ layers. Okay, it is made up of ectoderm, it is made up of mesoderm, it is made up of endoderm. So it is the tissue which will form first during the embryonic development, right, bache? So it is made up of what? It is made up of all the three germ layers. Clear? It is made up of all the three germ layers. Is it clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Yes or no? Right? It is made up of all the three germ layers: ectoderm, mesoderm and the endoderm. Now next is connective tissue, which is going to, obviously it will act like a link, right? It is going to join different parts, right? And it will help in the transportation as well. Connective tissue. So here we are even going to talk about the bones, we will talk about the cartilages, we will talk about the blood, the lymph. Okay, Okay, and in the muscular tissue, all the muscles, and in the nervous tissue, basically we will talk about the neurons. Fine. So in the epidermal tissue, we also divide this particular epidermal tissue on the basis of number of layers as well, right? And in the epidermal tissue, you will see different types of cells as well. So we will see squamous cells, which are flat and irregularly shaped, cube-like cells, cuboidal cells are there, right? Columnar, tall and cylinder, and the nucleus is present at the base. This is what we have discussed in the last class. So tell me, how's your revision going on? Are you people revising or just nothing, ma'am? We are just attending the live session and we are doing nothing. So are you people revising it or not? Are you guys revising it? Yes? Sure. So do make the short notes as well. Short notes are very good for the revision, and especially in the chapters where so many examples are there. Okay, and it is also one of the chapters where examples are given. Clear, bache? So that's what we need to do. So after this epidermal tissue, after this epithelial tissue rather, instead of epidermal, yes, write it as epithelial tissue. What is it? It is the epithelial tissue. Clear? So today we need to start with the connective tissue, but before that we will finish this topic, that is glands. Okay, what are we going to finish first? We are going to finish the glands first. In the last class also I told you about the glandular epithelium, isn't it? Glandular epithelium. So what is the word here? It's glandular. Gland, it is secretory, it will release, right? What is it? It is secretory. Glandular, the cell which will release something. It will release some secretions. Clear, bache? It will release some secretions. So when you talk about the glands, on the basis of method of secretion, right? On the basis of what? On the basis of method of secretion, we have three different type of glands. What do we have, bache? We have three different type of glands. You have exocrine, endocrine, and the heterocrine glands. What do you have? You have exocrine, endocrine, and the heterocrine glands. So this part is also important. Done, bache? Clear? And yes, do you know HSP sir has started something very amazing? You know that when it comes to the tips and tricks, no one can beat HSP sir, right? He taught chemistry in an amazing way with the help of different tricks, right? Sometimes he even danced to, you know, make a topic to clear one topic. Yes, I have seen him dancing as well, right? And I asked him, what are you doing, sir? So he was like, "Nahi, I'm trying to explain something to them." So he's very good. He's a very amazing teacher. You know that. So he has started a different batch for all of you. Clear, bache? So in that batch, what will he do? With the help of mind maps, he's going to clear your concepts. So the link is given in the description box. Be the part of that batch. Okay, be the part of that batch and master your chemistry. Fine. And share this class link with others as well. Let them know that ma'am has started the class, right? Invite more live learners as well. Done, Priyanka? So Hashini, Sri Harsha, Vamsi. Okay, chaliye. So quickly enroll in HSP sir's batch and let me know that yes ma'am, we are done with it. Okay? Okay, so chemistry, you know that it is important. We need to score 180 out of 180 in chemistry as well. So be the part of that batch. Be the part of that batch. Now come to this part. So on the basis of method of secretion, we have endocrine glands, exocrine glands, and the heterocrine glands. It's very simple. First of all, exocrine. These glands are having ducts, right? What are these ducts? These ducts are basically the tube-like structures, isn't it? What are they, Sushila? They are basically the tube-like structure, right? Let's say here you have a gland. Okay, so gland will pour its secretion, gland will pass its secretion to the destined place with the help of a tube-like structure, and we used to call it as a duct. So with the help of this duct, the secretions will directly pass to the destined place. Okay, so it is the exocrine gland having ducts. So best example is your salivary glands. I hope you know that, right? Salivary glands. Salivary glands are having the ducts, na? They are exocrine glands. Can you name the salivary glands? Yes, bacho. Can you just name it? Can you name the salivary glands? Tell me, salivary glands. Tell me quickly in the chat section. Answer it to me. Name all the three salivary glands. We have three salivary glands, na? So just name it. Quick, it's very easy. Yes? Seriously, you don't know that? बच्चे parotid, sublingual, submandibular, parotid, sublingual, submandibular, and you will see the tubes, the ducts there as well. Okay, so that comes under the exocrine gland. Then what do we have? Endocrine gland. These endocrine glands are also known as ductless glands. What are they? They are also known as ductless glands. But they are the glands, they do not have the glands that do not have the ducts. They do not have the tubes. So how will they pour their secretion? Just take the example of thyroid gland, which is the largest endocrine gland. But these glands, right, they will pour their secretion directly into the blood. So from the blood, these secretions will be transported to their destined place. Okay, they will be transported to their destined place. Clear? So here we have the examples of what? We have the endocrine glands. Done? So next is heterocrine gland. Heterocrine glands are also known as mixed glands. We also call them as composite glands, isn't it? They are the mixed glands, also known as composite glands. So here the examples are pancreas and gonads. Do you know that? Pancreas and gonads. Gonads may, in the case of males, testis. In the case of female, pair of ovary. So these three are the heterocrine glands. So now what is the meaning of heterocrine gland? Heterocrine gland is having both endocrine part as well, right? Endocrine part as well and exocrine part as well, right? It consists both endocrine part as well, exocrine part as well. Is that clear? Yes, everyone. So pancreas and gonads, they have both endocrine part as well, exocrine part as well. Let me explain it. Just say in the case of pancreas, you remember we talk about the SNI, singular is SNS. Okay, and we talk about the islets of Langerhans. So islets of Langerhans having alpha cells, having beta cells, having delta cells, having pancreatic polypeptide cells. Fine. We have the alpha cells, we have the beta cells, we have the delta cells, we have the pancreatic polypeptide cells. So this part, okay, this part is making the endocrine portion of the pancreas. Okay, and this part SNI, it is basically the exocrine part of the pancreas. So this exocrine part of pancreas, it will release digestive juices. Okay, it will release digestive juices. And when you talk about islets of Langerhans, this part is going to do what? They say alpha cells will release glucagon, right? Beta cells will release insulin. Clear, bache? Right, delta cells will release somatostatin, growth inhibitory hormone, and pancreatic polypeptide will release the hormones which will inhibit the secretion of the digestive juices. So overall, this pancreas is what? It is a heterocrine gland, it is a composite gland, it is a mixed gland. Done, bache? So on the basis of, yes, on the basis of method of secretion also, we are having different type of glands. So glands are what? They are secretory in nature. Yes, bache, what are glands? Yes, what are glands? Glands are basically the secretory in nature, right? They are going to secrete some chemical substances. Done, bache? Done, bache? So even the cuboidal cells, even the columnar cells, they will get modified and they can form the glandular epithelium. That's what you need to keep in your mind. Done? So the next portion is, yes, on the basis of nature of secretion. So on the basis of nature of secretion, we have merocrine gland, we have apocrine gland, and we have holocrine gland, right? What do we have? Merocrine gland, we have apocrine gland, and we have holocrine gland. Now, when you are talking about the merocrine gland, they say here in this case, what is going to happen? Let's say you have a gland. Fine, you have a gland. So this gland is going to secrete some chemical substances. Yes or no? Yes or no? This gland is going to secrete the chemical substances. Yes or no? Of course. Yes, of course. So now here that chemical substance will directly diffuse from the cells of this gland, right? The chemical substances, they will directly diffuse. Fine. They will directly, Sushila bache, they will directly, that chemical substance, that secretory material will directly diffuse from that particular gland. So the examples are salivary gland, sweat glands, tear glands, and the mucus gland. Salivary glands, sweat glands, tear glands, and the mucus glands. These are the examples that we have. Clear, bache? Now, it is apocrine gland. What is it? Apocrine gland. A for apo, A for apical. So here in this particular gland, what is going to happen, bache? This is, suppose karo, let's say this is the, right, this is a gland. I know, right? It doesn't look like a gland, but actually it is a gland. Consider it like this. So here, on the top of it, right, here we have this apical position, right? We have this apical position. We have the top portion here, isn't it? So all the secretions, all the secretory substance, it will get accumulated here, right? Right? Just this gland is going to secrete something, that chemical substance will get accumulated here. A for apical, in the apical portion. So what will happen, bache? This apical portion having the having that particular secretory substance, having particular chemical substance, right? It will shed off. Fine, it will shed off. So that is how, in the case of apocrine gland, they are going to secrete their chemical substances. So I'm repeating this again. What is going to happen on the top of this apical, on the top of this apocrine gland, right? On the top of this apocrine gland, the chemical substance will get aggregated here, and then it will shed off along with the secretory substance. So that is how it is going to secrete something. Clear, bache? Clear? So the best example here is what? It is of mammary gland. The best example here is of mammary gland. Now next part is what? Next part is the holocrine gland. Next part is what? It is the holocrine gland. Holocrine. Total. Right? Total. So here your entire secretory cell will shed off along with its secretion, right? Your entire secretory cell will shed off. It will wipe out along with its secretion. Okay. So in merocrine gland, simply, let's say this is the secretory cell, simply by a diffusion it will secrete its content. Here in apocrine, let's say secretions are accumulated here. So this part will wipe off, this part will shed off, right? Now it is the holocrine gland. This entire cell, this entire gland is having the secretory substance. So this entire cell will, right? This entire cell will shed off. It will get destroyed, and in this way it will release its content. So the examples are sebaceous gland. In the eyes you have meibomian gland and the Zeiss gland. These two glands are present in the eye. So examples are important and you should understand the meaning here. So any doubt? Yes, bache? Any doubt? Quick. Any doubt here? The next that we need to start is connective tissue. So tell me if there is any doubt. Sure? Sure? Yes? So this is all about the glands. So you know that they can be unicellular and they can be multicellular as well. When you talk about the glands, they can be unicellular or they can be multicellular as well. Just to save your time and my time, bache, I have already, made these flow charts. So please take the screenshot. I will share the PDF in my Telegram group, that is Love Biology by Ambika as well. But yes, what you have to do, just take the screenshot and in your notes, I mean, basically, please try to make such notes. Okay, that will be good for your quick revision. Fine, that will be good for your quick revision. Okay, done? Done. So next is the connective tissue. Next is what? Next is the connective tissue. So when you talk about the connective tissue, it is having the special function of linking and supporting the body, right? Right. Its main function is of linking and supporting the body. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? And when you talk about the connective tissue, mostly it is mesodermal in origin, right? It is what? It is mesodermal in origin. It is made up of this germ layer, that is your mesoderm. Okay, it is made up of what? It is made up of your mesoderm. Now when you talk about the connective tissue, it is made up of mesoderm, of course we know that. So its main function, as I said, it is of linking and supporting. Okay, it is of linking and supporting. And as I said, bache, this connective tissue is most widely distributed, right? It is most abundant and widely distributed tissue present in the body. What is it? It is most abundant and widely distributed tissue in the body. We will read it from NCERT. Now, when you are talking about the connective tissue, but we even discuss the connective tissue proper, right? The connective tissue vascular, the connective tissue skeleton as well. Like basically we divide connective tissue in different categories, like connective tissue proper, connective tissue vascular, connective tissue skeletal. So in connective tissue, when you are saying proper connective tissue, right, here you will consider like the connective tissue which is linking your skin and muscles, right, which is helping in the joining of your bones to the bones, helping in the attachment of muscle to bones. So everything we are going to discuss there, right? When we are using the word connective tissue proper, so properly, which is helping our skin to get attached to the body, helping muscles to get attached to the bones, helping bones to bones, helping in the attachment of bones to bones, connective tissue proper. When I'm saying connective tissue vascular, I'm talking about the blood, I'm talking about the lymph. When I'm saying connective tissue skeletal, so obviously we are talking about what? We are talking about the bones, we are talking about the cartilages. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So mainly in connective tissue, or you can say that in connective tissue proper, we divide it like this. We talk about the loose connective tissue, we talk about the dense connective tissue, we talk about the specialized connective tissue. Clear? Just for your quick revision, I'm making it again. Connective tissue mein, what do you have? You have loose, yes, loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue will be there. Fine, specialized connective tissue will be there. So when it is the loose connective tissue, okay, so as the name is suggesting, the things which are present in the connective tissue, they are loosely arranged. More intercellular spaces will be there, right? Things are loosely arranged. When they are dense, obviously the connective tissue mein, the matrix, the fibers, the cells, they are densely arranged. And when it is the specialized connective tissue, you have skeletal connective tissue, you have fluid connective tissue, right? You have skeletal connective tissue, you have fluid, you have vascular connective tissue. So it is going to include bones and cartilages, it is going to include blood and the lymph, right? Blood and the lymph. So take the screenshot. Loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, specialized connective tissue. Specialized connective tissue is having skeletal connective tissue, it is having fluid connective tissue. So skeletal connective tissue is having bones, it is having the cartilages. Here, blood and the lymph. Blood and the lymph. So examples are important, bache. So when it is the loose connective tissue, areolar tissue, adipose tissue is there. Clear? So dense mein dense, regular, irregular. So all that things are present. So this is basically a flow chart. So this is what we need to discuss here. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? Yes? Done? Done? So in general, what do we find? What are we going to get in the connective tissue? Like connective tissue is made up of what? So here we have the answer. In the connective tissue, you will find cells, you will find fibers, you will find the matrix. Okay, matrix means that ground substance. So ultimately here, what are we discussing? We are discussing that this connective tissue is made up of what? This connective tissue is made up of what? That's what we are discussing, yes or no? That's what we are discussing. So connective tissue is having cells, connective tissue is having fibers, connective tissue is having matrix. Connective tissue is having cells, connective tissue is having fibers, connective tissue is having matrix. I'm repeating this again. Connective tissue is having cells, connective tissue is having fibers, connective tissue is having the matrix. Okay? Okay. So matrix is the ground substance, that basic ground substance. And in that ground substance, another, mucopolysaccharides will be there, but some cells and fibers are present. Right, some cells and fibers are present. Just suppose there is a room, in that room, like how are you using that room? Like is it a bedroom, is it a drawing room, what is it? Okay, accordingly you will set all the furniture and everything. So here that room part is basically the matrix, the ground substance, okay, having mucopolysaccharides. So cells and fibers are arranged there. Okay, cells and fibers are arranged there. Fine, fine. So in all the connective tissue, you will get cells, you will get fibers, you will get matrix. And here we have one exception that you all should note down. In blood, cells do not secrete fibers. Like blood is the only connective tissue where you guys are not going to get the fibers. Clear? Here blood is the exception. What is the exception here? It is the blood which is the exception. So in all connective tissue except your blood, cells secrete fibers, right? Cells are going to secrete the fibers and the matrix. But in blood, cells do not secrete fibers and matrix. Clear, bache? Do not secrete fibers, even the matrix. So this is what you need to remember. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So which cells are going to be there in the connective tissue? Have a look. Which cells will be there in the connective tissue? Your fibroblast, very important. Your macrophages, your mast cells, adipose cells, lymphocytes. Okay, which cells are there in the connective tissue, Subhashini? Which cells are there in the connective tissue? Fibroblast cells are there, macrophages are there, mast cells are there, your adipose cells are there, your lymphocytes are there. Okay, and when you talk about the fibers, we will talk about collagen fibers, we will talk about elastic fibers, and we will talk about reticular fibers, right? Then what are we going to discuss? We are going to talk about the reticular fibers, right, bache? And when it comes to the matrix, as I said, what is it, bache? It is the ground substance. Okay, it is the ground substance, and here you will find mucopolysaccharides. Okay, what will you get here? Mucopolysaccharides. So the best example of that mucopolysaccharide is your hyaluronic acid. Remember, in the last class also we have discussed this. It is hyaluronic acid. What is it? It is hyaluronic acid. Fine, it is hyaluronic acid. Are you getting it? Yes, are you getting it? It's hyaluronic acid. It is the cementing material there. Fine, fine. So connective tissue mein, please repeat it with me, bache. Be active in the chat section, everyone. Be active in the chat section. So what do you have? You have cells, you have fibers, you have matrix. Now, in the case of blood only, we are not going to see fibers, we are not going to see the matrix. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. It is a vascular connective tissue. Are you getting it? It's a fluid connective tissue. It is a vascular connective tissue. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So cells mein, you have fibroblast cells, macrophages, mast cells, adipose cells, lymphocytes. You have fibroblast cells, macrophages, mast cells, adipose cells, lymphocytes. Or fibers में collagen fibers, elastic fibers, reticular fibers. Collagen fibers, elastic fibers, reticular fibers. Or matrix is the ground substance having hyaluronic acid. Clear, bache? Having hyaluronic acid. Now, this is what we need to revise first, and that is your fibroblast cells. What we need to revise first? Firstly, we need to revise the fibroblast cells. And yes, bache, question can come from this part. This is important. Okay, this is important. So these are the cells which are present in your connective tissue proper. Clear, bache? Fibroblast cells. So it is the largest cell of the connective tissue. Fine, it is the largest cell of the connective tissue, and bache, their number is maximum even. Okay, so from the fibroblast cells, that they can ask you in the paper, NTA can ask you two important questions, right? What can they ask you? They can ask you two important questions, that what is their major role? So no doubt it is the largest cell of that connective tissue. Its main role is to form matrix and to form fibers. Okay, what is the role of these two? What is the role of these cells? It is going to form the matrix and the fiber. It is going to form the matrix and the fibers. Okay, it is going to do what? It is going to form the matrix and the fibers. So as I said, it is the largest cell. It's maximum in number. It is a chief matrix producing cell. So it is the one which will form the ground substance. Okay, so matrix, the ground substance, it will be formed by your fibroblast as well as your mast cells. Both of them are going to form the matrix. But chief matrix producing cell is this fibroblast. So yes, it is important. Fine, it is important. They can ask you the question in the paper, right? You can get a question on the basis of that. It's a chief matrix producing cell, so it will also form fibers. Done, bache? So these fibroblast cells, they will get modified, and in bones and cartilage, they will form osteoblast, which is a bone forming cell, chondroblast, which is a cartilage forming cell. Are you getting it? Okay, so fibroblast cells, it's very important. It is the largest cell, maximum in number, chief matrix producing cell. It produces the fibers, bache. It produces the fibers, and fibroblast, it will get modified into osteoblast and chondroblast. So osteoblast is a bone forming cell, chondroblast is a cartilage forming cell. So these two functions and the roles here are important. Okay, so maximum number is of what? Maximum number is of fibroblast cells. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So they will form fibers, right? It will form fibers. Clear? Clear, clear, clear. Next is, bache, macrophages. Next is what? Next is macrophages. You know the meaning of macrophages. Clear? Macrophages, you know that they are the scavengers. They will eat even the dead and decaying things, dead and decaying cells present in the connective tissue. They can even destroy the foreign bodies. So they are amoeboid in shape, and you know that what are they? They are phagocytotic in nature. What are they? They are phagocytotic in nature. So phagocytosis, you know that it will engulf the foreign particle, right? So these macrophages, they are also present in the connective tissue. Obviously, it is meant for the protection. So let me tell you one very important point here, bache, that macrophages of connective tissue, they are known as histiocytes. Okay. Jesse, I will relate it with the liver, right? In the case of liver, if you remember, we used to say na Kupffer cells are present. In the liver, we used to say na Kupffer cells are present. So that Kupffer cells are the macrophages present in the liver. What are that Kupffer cells? They are the macrophages which are present in the liver. Same way, in the case of blood also, what will you get? That macrophages are your histiocytes, right? That macrophages are your histiocytes. So they are going to destroy dead and decaying organic matter, right, bache? Right? They will perform phagocytosis, right, bache? So its main function is to keep it, right? Its main function is to protect the connective tissue, and it can even destroy bacteria and viruses present there. Okay. It even destroy bacteria and viruses present there. Clear? Done. So that is the role of macrophages. Clear, bache? That is the role of macrophages. Done. So next is what? Next is the mast cells. Mast cells. So mast cells, they also synthesize matrix, but the chief matrix producing cell is fibroblast. Okay, even the mast cell, they also synthesize matrix, but the chief matrix producing cell is what? It is the fibroblast. So, bache, they are also amoeboid in shape. And when you talk about mast cells, na, mast cells, they perform the same function like the cells of the blood. Blood may we have that cells, na, blood may basophils are there, no? WBCs are having different categories. So WBC, basophil is a type of WBC. So mast cells are just like the basophil cells. Okay? Even they have that S-shaped nucleus and all. So mast cells, they also release histamine, heparin, and serotonin. Do you know that? Mast cell, what is the role of mast cell in the connective tissue? It also releases histamine, serotonin, and the heparin. It also releases histamine, serotonin, and the heparin. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So when you talk about the histamine, histamine is a vasodilator. What is the meaning of vasodilator? It is going to dilate the blood vessel. It is going to widen the blood vessel, right? What is the meaning of vasodilator? It is the one which will widen the blood vessel. Okay, it is the one which will widen the blood vessel. Vasodilator it is. So whenever there is any allergic reaction in our body, right? If there is any allergen in our body, just say it can be anything. It can be pollen grain. It can be anything else, right? So whenever that allergen is present in our body, even these histamines are also released. The vasodilation occur. The blood flow increase. And sometimes, you know, sometimes we get rashes or something, right? Sometimes I hope you guys have observed that we used to get rashes or something. Right? So basically, and whenever we have some injury or something, we see that redness, right? We see the redness. How is it possible? Because of the blood flow. because of the increase in the blood flow. So histamines are playing role there. They are the vasodilator. They will dilate the blood vessel, so the blood flow will increase. That is why injury, the areas where we have the injuries, we find it red colored. Redness is there. Clear, bache? Redness is there. Done. Okay, so as I said, even during the allergic reactions, if right, histamines, they are released. Next is heparin. Heparin, you know that it is natural anti-blood coagulant. It will not allow the blood to get clotted or right. It will not allow the blood to get clotted and coagulated. To allow the blood to get clotted or coagulated in the intact blood vessels. Heparin. So in intact blood vessels, the blood vessels which are totally fine, in which there is no injury, right, blood will not get clotted. Why? Because heparin is present, right? Because heparin is present. Clear, bache, Priyanka? And then comes the serotonin. Right, then comes the serotonin. So when you talk about the serotonin is a vasoconstrictor. You know that even it is a neurotransmitter, but it is also released by these mast cells. So serotonin is a vasoconstrictor. Clear, bache? It is going to constrict the blood vessel. It is going to decrease the blood circulation. Fine. It is going to decrease the blood circulation. Clear, bache? So whenever there is any injury, right, there is excessive blood loss, there serotonin will be released, okay, so that it can stop the secretion of the excessive blood. And moreover, as I said, mast cells, they also synthesize matrix. So this is what you need to remember, and this is important. So you can also make your short notes like this, so you can see, bache, in less time we can revise more with the help of these short notes. So can we revise it once again? Connective tissue having what? What do we have? We have loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, specialized connective tissue. And when you talk about connective tissue proper, we have the cells, fibers, matrix. We have the cells, fibers, and matrix. And when it comes to the cells, fibroblast, macrophages, mast cell, adipose cell, and lymphocytes are there. When you talk about the fibers, collagen fiber, elastic fiber, reticular fibers are there, right? Matrix is a ground substance which is rich with mucopolysaccharides, particularly your hyaluronic acid. Done, bache? So cells, their function, okay. So then comes the adipose cell. You know that these are the fat cells. What are they? They are the fat cells. They are also known as adipocytes. What are they? They are also known as adipocytes. So they are oval, they store the fat, right? So bache, in these fat cells, sometimes some fat cells are having single fat globule. Right, they are having single fat globule, and their nucleus is also towards the periphery, and the cytoplasm is less. Like this fat cells, they are made up of fat globules. You can say that some simple fats together, they are forming some fat globules, and that fat globules are present in these fat cells. Okay? So if the only single, large, and central fat globule is there, such fat is going to be monolocular fat cell. Such fat cell is going to be monolocular fat cell, and here you will see the amount of cytoplasm will be less, okay, because the fat globule is quite enlarged, isn't it? And here multilocular adipocyte, right, they have many fat globules, they have more cytoplasm, so their nucleus is round and found in the center. So nucleus is small here, right? The nucleus is small here. Done, bache? Done. So mononuclear adipocyte, where the large and the central fat globule is present. Clear, bache? In multilocular adipocytes, small fat globules are present. Okay. Done. So it is going to form adipocytes mein, right? Fat mein, you have two things. One is the white fat and another is the brown fat. Bache, do you know the difference in these two? What is the brown fat and what is the white fat? Anyone? Yes. What is the white fat and what is the brown fat? Do you know the difference in these two? Quick. Do you know the difference in these two? Quick. Anyone? Brown fat or the white fat? Anyone? No? Strange. बच्चे white fat and the brown fat. Brown fat is majorly there in our infant stage. Right? In infants, you will find excess of brown fat. So basically in fetal life, during fetal life also we will find the we are going to find the brown fat, and in adults that brown fat will be replaced by the white fat. So white fat is the major portion of fat in our body, right? And when you talk about the brown fat, in the case of brown fat, it is going to provide us the insulation. Overall, the role of fat is to provide the insulation, right? Is to provide the insulation. Fine. But when it comes to the brown fat, as I said that in the case of infants, its amount is more. In fetal life, it is more. Why? Why, bache? Because here the metabolism is also fast. It will liberate more energy. So if it will liberate more heat energy, so obviously it is going to protect us from the cold, right? It is having some special proteins for that. Right? So do read about the brown fat. Just in the case of pig also, you will see the brown fat is there, right? So in the case of fetus, in the case of infants, you will see more brown fat. So it's in the brown fat, metabolism is high, more heat energy will be released. So obviously it will protect us from the cold condition. Now in the case of white fat, major part of our fat is the white fat. Clear, bache? So white fat ke case mein bhi metabolism is there, but in comparison to brown fat, it is less. Clear? In comparison to brown fat, it is less. So white adipose tissue is just the predominant adipose tissue. It will no doubt store the energy, right? And it will regulate what? It will regulate the temperature in our body as well. Clear, bache? Clear? Okay? So white fat and the brown fat. So brown fat is having more mitochondria, so obviously more energy will be produced. And here you will see, you will find less mitochondria in the cells of this white fat. So that's your homework. You should check, you need to check about this brown fat and the white fat. Clear, bache? Brown fat and the white fat. Done. So next is the fibers. Bache, fibers are proteinaceous structures. Fibers are nothing, they are the proteinaceous structures. They are made up of proteins. And as I said, your fibroblasts, right, your fibroblast cells, they are going to form the fibers. So on the basis of type of protein, we have different type of fibers, right? On the basis of types of proteins, we have different types of fibers. Just a collagen fiber, also known as white fiber, right? Collagen fiber, also known as white fiber. Elastic fiber, also known as yellow fiber. And then we have the reticular fiber. So three types of fibers are there: white fiber, yellow fiber, reticular fiber. White fiber is majorly made up of collagen. Now I hope you know about the collagen. Collagen is what, bache? It is the most abundant protein of animal world. Yes or no? It is the most abundant protein of animal world. What is it? It is the most abundant protein of animal world, and it is the most abundant protein of the extracellular matrix, bache Shamshi. Okay? So these fibers, so if white fibers are there, they are made up of collagen. Collagen is the protein that will make the white fibers. So here you guys can see these fibers are bright and white, composed of collagen protein. They are present in maximum quantity in vertebrates. They are wavy and tough fibers, and they are present in bundles. Clear? They are quite tough. They are strong. Fine, bache. And then comes the elastic fiber. As the name is suggesting, it is having the elasticity. These fibers are flexible. These fibers are flexible. So they are yellow in color, having elastin protein. Maximum elasticity is there in these fibers, and they are highly resistant to the chemicals. Fine. They are highly resistant to the chemicals. Then bache, reticular fibers. The word reticular, reticular means network. Reticulum, network, right? Network. Done, bache. So these fibers are having reticulum protein, and they are highly branched, delicate fibers they are, and in their case, elasticity is absent. Clear, bache? Elasticity is absent here. Done? Elasticity is absent here. Clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Yes or no? Quick. Done, bache? These are the fibers. So they are also proteinaceous. So they are going to provide strength to that matrix. Fine. They are also going to provide strength to that matrix. Done, bache? So matrix mein I told you already, hyaluronic, right? What will you there in the matrix? You will find the hyaluronic acid. Clear, bache? What will you get there? You will get the hyaluronic acid. So this is all about the composition of the connective tissue having cells, fibers and matrix. So now let's revise it once from the NCERT. Clear, bache? Right? Just revise it from the NCERT once. So see, connective tissue found throughout the body and most abundant it is. Clear? It is the most abundant tissue which is present. Right? So most abundant and widely distributed. Fine, bache? Right? So their special function is of linking and supporting other tissues and organs. Right? So we have so many examples there, isn't it? We have so many examples there when we talk about the connective tissue. So see, this is the diagram from the NCERT. So it is important. Okay, it is important. It is also a previous year question. So here you guys can see the diagram of the areolar tissue. So when it is areolar, I told you already, it is the example of loose connective tissue. Fine. So ultimately in the connective tissue, we know that fiber cells and matrix are present. So if it is the loose connective tissue, so obviously these fiber cells and matrix, fiber and cells, they are not compactly arranged, right? They are not tightly arranged, right? Loose arrangement is there, more intercellular spaces are there. So just have a look of this areolar tissue. See, all other things are present. Macrophages. So I told you macrophages of connective tissue are known as histiocytes. Fibroblast, chief fiber producing cell and matrix producing cell. Collagen fibers, also known as white fibers. So see how loosely they are arranged. And here you have the mast cell having function same like the WBCs. Okay, so the naming is important. Macrophages, see these fibroblasts attached to these fibers because they are forming the fibers, right? And here you see the mast cell and you can see the blood supply as well. So it is the adipose tissue. Look at this fat storage area. This is basically the fat globule, right? It is a large fat globule. Nucleus is there and the cytoplasm is there. Fine. Fine. So fats, obviously they are meant for storage and insulation. Clear, bache? So diagrams, as I said, diagrams are important. Okay, diagrams are important. So what it includes? It includes cartilages, bone, adipose and the blood. So in all the connective tissue, again this is important, bache. In all the connective tissue, except blood, the cells secrete fibers of structural protein. This part is important. Please mark it in your NCERT. Okay, please mark it in your NCERT. Done? Tariq bache, there is a link given in the description box. You can click there and you can join it. Fine. So this line is important in all the connective tissue, leaving blood. So except blood, all will contain, right, your fibers, your cells and fibers. Done? So so in all the connective tissue leaving blood, fibers are present basically. Okay. Okay. So fibers are going to provide the strength, elasticity and flexibility to the tissue, right? So these cells, they also secrete modified polysaccharides. You know that what is it? It is the ground substance. Okay, it is the ground substance. So now what we need to start? We need to start the loose connective tissue. So as the name is suggesting here, cells and fibers, they are loosely arranged in a semi-fluid ground substance. Clear, bache? Cells and fibers, how are they arranged? They are loosely arranged. Clear? How are they arranged? They are loosely arranged. So yeah, examples are areolar tissue and the adipose tissue. So bache, examples are very important. Fine, examples are very important. So your areolar tissue, areolar, always remember it is having the air spaces in between. Fine, air spaces means spaces are present in the areolar tissue. So it is present beneath the skin, under the skin. Okay. Okay, so it is also acting as a support framework for the epithelium. So it contains fibroblast cells that will produce and secrete the fibers. Clear? So it is having the fibroblast cells, it is having the macrophages and the mast cells. Fine, bache. Next is adipose tissue, another type of loose connective tissue. It is also present under the skin, but the cells here are specialized to store the fats. Clear, bache? Right? So it is basically for the storage of the fats. Done? Done? So loose connective tissue, right? Loose connective tissue. This is what you need to remember. So you guys can see the diagrams as well. Fine. Loose connective tissue. See, areolar and adipose. So you guys can see areolar present beneath the skin and adipose occurs mainly beneath the skin, but around the heart, blood vessel and kidneys it is also present. So this has been asked as a question in NEET 2017. Done. So it's a previous year, right? It's a previous year question. Clear, bache? Bache, fats are present in the form of these adipose cells, na? They are forming the coverings, they are protecting adipose tissue, they are also making the layers, they are also helping us, right? They are also providing the cushioning to the soft organs. Fine. So here you people can see. So areolar tissue may it contain fibroblast, mast cell, macrophages, and your adipose tissue, white and yellow tissue. So fat droplet is surrounded by a small amount of cytoplasm, and in brown tissue, you know that fat droplets are surrounded by a large amount of cytoplasm. Okay. So I told you already about the brown fat and the white fat, monolocular adipocytes and the multilocular adipocytes. So it is also specialized to store fat, reduce heat loss from the body. Okay. So areolar tissue is acting as a support framework for epithelium. Adipose tissue is for reducing the heat loss and acting like an insulating layer. Done. It is acting like an insulating layer. So these are the two types of connective tissue, loose connective tissue. Done, bache? Done. Any other doubt? Yes. Any other doubt? So this is what you need to remember. Areolar connective tissue is mainly for the framework, present under the skin, and it is mainly for the framework. Clear? Clear, bache? Right? So it is having the air spaces. It is having the air spaces, that is intercellular spaces are there. Fine, intercellular spaces are there. Sure? Sure. Done, bache? So in mammals, you know that skin is tightly attached to muscles. In mammals, you know that na, skin is tightly attached to muscles, yes or no? Skin is tightly attached to muscles, yes or no? So there also these areolar connective tissues are playing the role. So areolar air spaces. So in air spaces you will see nerve supply, right? You will see the blood supply there in these air spaces. So this is about the areolar connective tissue. Clear, bache? Clear? So it is mainly for what? Mainly for the framework. Now adipose mein, one student is asking, ma'am, how to differentiate adipose connective tissue and areolar. See, both are the part of loose connective tissue without any doubt, but adipose is mainly providing the insulation. Okay, it is mainly covering the soft organs, right? And here you are not going to see these air spaces. Here you will see fat globules, right? In the adipose connective tissue, you are going to see the fat globules. You are not going to see the air spaces here. So that's how you can differentiate. Clear, bache? That's how you can differentiate. Done. So adipose connective tissue is nothing. Adipose connective tissue is nothing. It is also the modified areolar tissue. Fine. It is also the modified areolar tissue. Okay. So as I said, examples are important. Okay. Examples are important. Done, bache? Done? Done? So white fat and the brown fat is there. So white fat mein I told you what type of adipocytes are there. Okay, so mitochondria are less in number, they produce less energy. Fine. So do mention it. So let me explain this to you. So adipose mein you have white fat, right, having monolocular adipocytes. So monolocular adipocytes means they are having only one large fat globules, right? One large fat globule is there and the nucleus is present near to the periphery, less amount of cytoplasm is there. So white fat bache, it is having less mitochondria. It is having less mitochondria. So obviously produces less heat. Mainly the fat is for the insulation na. So white fat mein you have the example of blubber as well. Do you know blubber? Do you know blubber? Yes. Do you know blubber? It's a thick fat layer, right, which is covering the seal. I hope you have seen the seal. It is an aquatic organism na, seal. So seal is very fat. Seal is very fat, even though, you know, seal always swim, but still seal is very fat, right? There is a thick fatty layer which is covering that seal. That is basically the blubber, right? So it will act like an insulating layer. Fine, it will act like an insulating layer. So it will it is present under the dermis of skin. Okay, it is present under the dermis of skin. So you will find it in whale, you will find it in seal. Okay, so it is present under dermis. Blubber. Fine, it's blubber. So on the other hand, you know that what will be there in the brown fat? It is having multilocular adipocytes, bache. Cytoplasm is more, mitochondria is more. Okay, okay, cytoplasm is more, mitochondria is more. Fine. So in the babies you will find it. So write down, it is having multilocular adipocytes, right? Multilocular adipocytes, and moreover in the brown fat, what will you see? More mitochondria. So it produces 20 times more energy than the white fat. So we will see them in the hibernating mammals. You will find it like in the case of rats, in the case of rodents. Okay, you will find this brown fat. Done. So it is having more mitochondria, so it will produce more energy. So the examples of loose connective tissue, done, bache? Yes, you can even take the screenshot. Fine. You can even take the screenshot. Done. Sure. Done, बच्चे? चलिए next. Okay. So next is your dense connective tissue. Next is what? Dense connective tissue. बच्चे, here fibers and fibroblasts. Fibers and fibroblasts, they are compactly arranged. Right, they are tightly arranged. That is what you need to keep in your mind. Okay, they are compactly arranged, they are tightly arranged. What? It is the dense connective tissue. There is no loose arrangement, there is the tight arrangement here, right, in the dense connective tissue. So dense connective tissue, may you know that we have even dense regular connective tissue, we have even dense irregular connective tissue. So it is obvious, if it is the dense regular connective tissue, okay, if it is the dense regular connective tissue, properly, right, that fibers and fibroblasts will be arranged. But if it is irregular, they are not arranged properly. Let me show you the diagram from the NCERT. See, these are the diagrams. So see this fibers and here fibroblasts in between. Fibers and fibroblasts in between. So they are regularly arranged, they are properly arranged. So this is dense irregular. See, collagen fibers are placed like this. Right, randomly they are distributed, and fibroblasts are randomly distributed, right? So this diagram is of dense regular connective tissue, right? Dense regular connective tissue, and this one is of dense irregular connective tissue. This one is of dense irregular connective tissue. Fine. Done, bache? Sure. 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 So see, dense regular may, I am giving you the examples here: tendons, ligaments. Irregular may, right, pericardium, cornea of eye, Gleason's capsule, vocal cords are also there, right? Examples are important, bache. examples are very, very, very important. No doubt, we are majorly distributing it, we are majorly dividing it like this, that they have dense regular connective tissue, dense irregular, right? Mainly we are dividing it like this, dense regular, dense irregular. But the point here is, what is the point here, bache? Actually, overall in this connective tissue, right? Overall in dense connective tissue, you can also consider it in this way, that white fibrous dense connective tissue or yellow fibrous dense connective tissue. So if it is white fibrous connective tissue, means collagen fibers are present, and if it is yellow, it means elastin protein is there, elastic fibers are present. Are you getting it? Ultimately meaning is same here, right? Ultimately these cells and fibroblast and fibers are arranged, but if that fibers are made up of collagen, so it will be white fibrous dense connective tissue. If it is made up of elastic if elastic fibers are there, elastin, if they are made up of elastin protein, yellow fibrous dense connective tissue. Clear, bache? Yellow fibrous dense connective tissue. Is that clear? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. Done. So here in white fibrous connective tissue, your yellow and reticular fibers are absent. Fine. Yellow and reticular fibers are totally absent. Only you know that white fibers are present. And here you will see more number of fibroblast cells, right? More number of fibroblast cells, yes, and mast cells. Done. More number of fibroblast cells and mast cells. Is it clear? And when it is the yellow fibrous, so obviously yellow is more in quantity, right? Here what will you get? Yellow will be more in quantity. Yellow fibers are more in quantity. But bache, collagen fibers are also present. Matlab they are less in quantity, but still they are present. So collagen fibers are also present. Reticular fibers are totally absent. Done. Reticular fibers are absent. They are totally absent. That's the point here. Fine. That's the point here. Bache, Rashid, we will try our best to complete your All India mock test series syllabus here first. Right. Done. It's okay. We will try our best. Okay. So that's what you need to remember. So any doubt here, bache? Any doubt? Yes. Hanji, any doubt? Sure. I need to start the next part. So tell me if there is any doubt. Sure. Okay. So now here, see, now here in this white fibrous dense tissue, right, we have two words. One is cords and another is sheaths. Sheath, not sheet, sheath. See, if cords and sheaths, like cords and sheath. So when do we use the word cord? When do we use the word cord? When white fibers, they run parallel. Okay, they run parallel. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? Jaise suppose karo, here you have the white fibers. Here you have the white fibers. White fibers, they run parallel to each other. Fine. They run parallel to each other. They form bundles. They form bundles, and bache, you know what? These bundles are attached with the help of that areolar connective tissue. Okay, these bundles are attached with the help of that areolar connective tissue. So here white fiber run parallel, they form the cords, bache, right? So all these bundles are arranged together with the help of the areolar tissue. Clear? Clear, clear, clear. And here in these cords, fibroblasts are the only cell that are present. Fine. Fibroblasts are the only cells that present. Fine, that present. So here you see the example of what? You see the example of tendons. Do you know what are tendons? Tendons are the example here. So tendons are the example of dense connective tissue, and it is dense regular connective tissue. Clear? It is a dense regular connective tissue. So here we have the example of what? We have the example of cords. So cords are making dense regular tissue, and sheaths are making dense irregular tissue. Fine, they are making dense irregular tissue. Clear, bache? Is it clear? So for dense regular tissue, we use the word cords, and for dense irregular tissue, we use the word sheath. So when they are the regular tissue, white fibers run parallel to form the cords. So all these bundles are placed together with the help of areolar tissue. So here you will see fibroblasts are the only cells that are present. Fibroblasts are the only cells that are present. So tendon is the example. So they connect. So tendons connect skeletal muscles to bones. It's important, bache. It connects skeletal muscle to bones. Okay, it connects skeletal muscles to bones. Right? Right? Yes or no? Yes or no? So here in the sheath, fibers are cross-linked, right? They are not parallelly arranged. They are cross-linked to form sheaths. Fine, to form sheaths. So it is the example of dense irregular tissue. So bache, here, do you know pericardium? Pericardium, do you know that? What is pericardium? Pericardium is the covering of heart. So covering of heart is made up of dense connective tissue, but that is dense irregular connective tissue. Clear? That is dense irregular connective tissue. Even cornea of eye is having this dense irregular connective tissue. Done, bache? So pericardium, cornea of eye, and even Glissen's capsule. Do you know Glissen's capsule? Yes. Do you know Glissen's capsule? Jैसे you know na, your hepatic lobules. Hepatic lobules, in the case of mammals, it is a unique thing. Hepatic lobules are covered with the Glissen's capsule. That is something unique which is there in the case of mammals. So Glissen's capsule is also the connective tissue which is covering the hepatic lobules in the liver. Okay, so that is also the example of dense irregular connective tissue. Clear? That is also the example of dense irregular connective tissue. So which fibers are there? Mainly the white fibers. Clear, bache? Which fibers are there? Mainly white fibers are there. Okay. Okay, so now when it is the yellow fiber, means when there is the elastin protein, when it is what? When it is the yellow fibers. So here also you will see cords, here also you will see sheath. Fine. So cords is also the example of your dense regular tissue. So the fibrous, so the yellow fibers that are making dense regular tissues, and here yellow fibers that are making dense irregular tissue. So done, bache? So for dense regular tissue, we are using the word cords. For dense irregular tissue, we are using the word sheath. For dense regular tissue, we are using the word cord. For dense irregular tissue, we are using the word sheath. So here you will find the example of ligament. Right? One thing is common, bache. Here you are going to get the yellow fibers, but the example is ligament. So what is the role of ligament? Ligament help the bone to get attached to the bone. So they help in bone to bone attachment. Fine. So it helps in bone to bone attachment. Clear, bache? Right? Clear, bache? Yes. So here in yellow elastic fiber, so mainly you will see fibroblasts are irregularly scattered. So the example is ligament here, which will bind bones together, and in the sheets you will see the walls of blood vessels and all. Clear, bache? right? Here you will see the example of walls of blood vessels, and lymph vessels are having dense irregular tissue, and even your vocal cords, they are the examples. Done. So examples are the most important part here. Fine, examples are the most important thing. Okay, any doubt? Sure. Okay, same way bache, we are also having reticular fibers. Do you know that reticular fibrous tissue is also there, or you can say that reticular fibers are also there? Do you know they are also making the connective tissue in the case of your lymphoid organs? So lymphoid organs in lymphoid organs, the connective tissue is mainly having reticular fibers, like your spleen. Okay, like spleen. You know, spleen is the largest lymphoid organ. It is a bean-shaped lymphoid organ. So reticular fibrous connective tissue is the part of, it is most commonly found in the lymphoid organs, right? It is most commonly found in the lymphoid organs. Is that clear? Yes, bache. Is that clear? Sure. Dense, regular, dense, irregular. Chalo, let's revise it from NCERT. Let's revise it once from NCERT. So here you guys can see. So fibers and fibroblasts are compactly packed in dense connective tissue. Orientation of fibers will make it regular or irregular. That how that fibers are present, their orientation is going to decide that. Okay? So in dense regular connective tissue, collagen fibers are present in rows between many parallel bundle of fibers. Tendons are the example, bache. Tendons are the example, or ligaments. You know that it is the example of dense regular tissue, but it is made up of yellow fibers, right? So one bone to another. Clear? So dense irregular mein fibroblast has fibroblast and many fibers, right? But they are oriented differently. Okay, bache? So they are present in skin mainly. Done? So the diagram is important. Sure, diagram is important. So next is cartilage, bones and blood. You know that they are the part of specialized connective tissue. Clear, bache? They are the part of specialized connective tissue. Okay? They are the part of what? They are the part of specialized connective tissue. So let's revise it quickly with the help of this table, and then in detail also I will explain you this. Okay, so see, cartilage. So cells of cartilage forming cells are your chondroblasts, right? Bone forming cells are your osteoblasts. Important it is. So cartilages, they are solid and they are flexible. So they are making our skeletal connective tissue. Bones, bache, they are the cells of bones. Bone forming cells are osteoblasts. They are hard, inflexible, rich in calcium salts and collagen fiber. Here in cartilage, you will find chondrin. Wait, I'll explain this. Or right, so cartilages, see the tip of the nose, cartilage, outer ear joints, cartilage, right? Between adjacent bones of vertebral column, you will find some intervertebral discs that are also cartilages. Legs and hands in adults, they also have cartilages. So the position, it matters. Yes, question can come from this part. Jaise see, tip of the nose, it is made up of which cartilage? Okay, jaise in your larynx also we talk about the cartilages. External ear joint is also having the cartilages. In between the vertebral column, we have intervertebral discs that are also cartilages. So examples are important. Clear, bache? Right? So bones, you know that they are present in limbs, neck, ear and vertebral column. Right? They will provide the structural framework, support and protect the softer tissues and organ. Then comes the blood and lymph, connective tissue it is. Right? It is the fluid connective tissue basically. Okay? So it is the fluid connective tissue basically. So before starting the bone part, let me tell you about the blood. So blood mein, this is what you need to remember. Cells are not going to form the fibers here. So blood is the connective tissue in which fibers are absent. Done. Blood is the connective tissue in which fibers are absent. So blood mein bache, we discuss two things. One is yes, plasma, which is making 55% of blood, and we will see formed elements. So these formed elements are making 45% of the cell. They are making 45% of the blood. right? My favorite example is Bonvita. जैसे in milk you are mixing up the Bonvita, you are getting your drink, है ना? So that milk, that white part is plasma, and the Bonvita granules, that chocolate granules that you are adding, that are the formed elements. So when it is plasma, you are talking about the fluid, right? You are talking about that yellowish, straw colored, actually it is pale yellow, straw colored fluid. So it is making 55% of the plasma. So here what will you get? Obviously you are going to get some plasma proteins, right? That plasma proteins will also fight with the infection. They are also providing balancing the osmotic content there. ठीक है बच्चे, they will also release some clotting. They are also some proteins are also there which will make the which will help in that blood clotting also. You will see the ions there, you will see the gases there for the transportation, you will see the waste material there in the plasma. And when you are talking about the formed elements, here we talk about the red blood cells, erythrocytes, white blood cells, leukocytes, and then comes the platelets, which are known as thrombocytes, right? Which are known as thrombocytes. Are you getting my point? Right? So what will you get here? RBCs, erythrocytes, WBCs, white blood cells, leukocytes, platelets, thrombocytes. Okay, thrombocytes. So these cells are making 45% of the blood, and here you know that the plasma will contain plasma protein, ions, and yes, majorly water will be there in the plasma. Clear? So you know the role of the blood, help in the transport of gases. RBC is going to play the role there. It is having the hemoglobin. WBCs are going to fight with the infection. Platelets, right? They will help in the blood clotting. Clear, bache? Platelets, they will help in the blood clotting. And then comes what? Then comes the lymph. Bache, lymph is also known as interstitial fluid. Okay, it is also known as interstitial fluid. It is also known as middleman. Actually what is happening, right? This is, suppose karo, here you have the cells, okay, and here you have the blood vessel, blood capillary. So here in between these cells, right, in between these cells you will find the fluid, that is also your lymph. Okay, so it will take the material from the cells, it will give it to blood. So blood, whatever will be diffused from the blood, it will first enter here in lymph, then it will go in the blood. So it is acting like the middleman. Right, it is acting like the middleman. Clear, bache? Right? So in the lymph is colorless. It doesn't have RBCs. It will contain WBCs. Few WBCs are present there, and that will help in fighting with the infection. Clear? So lymph is present in lymphatic vessel. It will remove excess fluid and absorb fats by lectins. So this example is very important. You know the lectins, they are the lymph vessels present in the small intestine. They are the lymph vessel present in the small intestine. They help in the fat absorption. Okay, they help in the fat absorption. Fine, right? Done. So next is the bones and the cartilages. First of all, let's start with the cartilages. So bache, when you talk about the cartilages, they are going to provide the strength plus flexibility as well. Right? When you talk about the cartilages, see, they are the part of the skeletal. Bones and cartilages, they are the part of the skeletal connective tissue. Right? They are the part of the skeletal connective tissue, and here you will see they have tough matrix. In their matrix, you will see the deposition of the salts. Right? Inorganic depositions are also there. Isn't it? Inorganic depositions are also there. So what will you see there in the cartilages? You are going to see, yes bache, you will see the tough matrix is there in the cartilages. What will be there? Tough matrix will be there. Okay, so it will protect our organs, it will provide the structural framework also. Somewhere the skeletal connective tissue will help in the locomotion. So majorly we will talk about cartilages and the bones. Cartilages and the bones. Clear bache? What will be discussed? Cartilages and the bones. So here there are the main things which you will see in the cartilages. Jaise cartilages mein outer covering of cartilage is known as perichondrium. What is the outer covering in the case of cartilages? Outer covering in the case of cartilages is what? It is perichondrium, and this outer covering will get the blood supply. Not right, only this outer covering is going to get the blood supply. Then bache, there are cells which are present there in the cartilages. So question can come from these cells. Jaise chondroblasts. What do we have? We have chondroblasts. Okay, so they are the cartilage producing cell. I just told you, when fibroblasts, they get modified, right, here in these cartilages is also the connective tissue. So cartilages mein your fibroblasts, they are modified. Okay, your fibroblasts, they are modified in the cartilages. They are forming the chondroblasts. What are they forming? They are forming the chondroblasts. So these chondroblasts are cartilage producing cells. What are they? They are cartilage producing cells. Okay, they are cartilage producing cells, and these cells, they are active, they divide and they will form chondrocytes. Okay, so chondroblasts, they are active cells, means they are small in size, and once they will become mature, you will call them as chondrocytes, right? So these chondroblasts, I'm repeating this again because this is important, please take a note of it, bache. So chondroblasts, they are cartilage producing cells, they are active cells, means they are small in size, actively dividing they are, right? So they divide, they form chondroblasts, and these chondroblasts, they also synthesize the matrix of the cartilage. Clear? The matrix of the cartilage is synthesized by the chondroblast. Clear, bache? Is it clear? Yes. So as I said, chondrocytes are the mature cells. They are found in the lacunae. Lacunae is nothing in the cartilage. When you will take the section, you will see the spaces where blood supply, nerve supply is there. So in that lacunae, in that spaces, you will find these chondrocytes, bache. Clear? So this is what you need to remember. So when it is immature, the word is chondroblast. Chondroblast will divide. It will form mature chondrocytes. It will form mature chondrocytes. And bache, one is chondroclasts. These are the cartilage destroying cells. Right, they will destroy the cells there. Chondroclasts, this is important, right? This is important. Chondroclasts, they are the cartilage destroying cells. And then bache, here in the matrix is mainly having chondrin. Chondrin is chondroitin 6-sulfate. These are the salts which are making this matrix. So in the matrix of the cartilages, we will see hyaluronic acid, we will see this chondroitin 6-sulfate, and these are the cells which are present. So these are the only important points which you need to focus when you talk about the structure of the cartilage. That is why bache, I have mentioned it here only. Okay? So it is only the outer covering perichondrium which will get the blood supply. Rest doesn't have the blood supply. Done, bache? Done? Yes. So this is about the cartilages. Yes, this is about the cartilages. Yes or no? Yes or no? Sure? Done? Okay, chaliye. So bache, we have 3 different types of cartilages. One is your hyaline cartilage, that is bluish as well, right? One is your hyaline cartilage. It is kind of, bluish, glassy appearances there. Then you have fibrous cartilage, fibrocartilage, and then comes the elastic cartilage, right? So hyaline, right, it is clearer looking ground substance will be there. In fibrocartilage, you will see, right, if it is white fibrocartilage, densely layered collagen fibers will be there, right? So if it is yellow, you can say that fibrous cartilage it is, but it is having the yellow fibers, so it is visible elastic fibers there in the matrix. So this is how they are arranged. Fine, this is how they are arranged. So which a question used to come from this part. Okay, question used to come from this part. They used to ask the position. So just a hyaline cartilage, remember it is having glassy appearance, it is having that bluish appearance, right? So here your chondrocytes are arranged in groups. Fine, they are arranged in groups. Clear? So where will you find it? Just articular ends of long bones, ends of long bones, like your femur, you will find it there. Now elastic cartilage, see, we can move it. So your pinna of ear, it is having elastic cartilage. Auditory canal, right, external meatus, this auditory canal is having your elastic cartilage. Like larynx mein, voice box is having the cartilages that are also the elastic cartilages. Clear? And fibrocartilages, right? Intervertebral discs and pubic symphysis, they are the examples here. So yes, this part is important. You should know where these cartilages are present, right? I'm not saying that you have to remember the structure, but at least this is what you should know. So hyaline cartilage, bluish, glassy appearance it is. It's maximum in the case of humans. Okay, it is maximum in human body. Fine, it is maximum in human body. Your hyaline cartilage, right? Right, bache? So their presence is important, right? Where are they present? It is important. Clear, bache? So jaise when it is the hyaline cartilage, always remember your nasal septum. Nasal septum is having hyaline cartilage. Do you remember that C-shaped? Do you remember that C-shaped cartilaginous rings that are covering our trachea? They are having the hyaline cartilage. Are you getting it? They are having the hyaline cartilage. Okay, and other than that, even in larynx, you will also see the hyaline cartilage. So positions are important. So elastic mein I told you already. So your tip of nose, right? The tip of nose is also having the elastic cartilage. Tip of nose. So it is a previously asked question. So pinna, right? Ear pinna is also having the elastic cartilage. So yes, this is important. Note down. This is important. And even the epiglottis. You know, epiglottis is a cartilaginous flap which is covering the glottis. Soon we will start the human physiology. You will find it there. So it is also having the epiglottis. Fine. Fine, epiglottis is also the example of elastic cartilage. So elastic cartilage, if it is made up of, yes, if it is, so elastic cartilage and this fibrocartilage is the example of your fibrous cartilage. Done? Any doubt? Any doubt? Okay? So it is white fibrous cartilage, your fibrocartilage. And this one here is your yellow fibrous cartilage. So this is important. So bache, that's your homework. Please note down in your notebook. Question can come from this particular part. Okay, question can come from this particular part. Done? This is all about the cartilages. And now bache, when you talk about the bones, right? Wait, I'll show you the image also. And yes, this is the diagram from the NCERT. Can you see this? Can you see this? See collagen fibers and cartilage cells. These chondrocytes are present. So these chondrocytes are present in spaces, and for these spaces we use the word lacunae. Okay, for these spaces we use the word lacunae. Done? And here I told you already what is present in the case of blood. And this section is of bone. Let me explain this part to you. Okay, so when you compare cartilage and bone, cartilage is flexible, tip of nose, pinna, but bone, you know that they do not have the flexibility. They are providing our body a framework. What are they going to provide? They are going to provide the framework. Okay, bache? So bone mein, if you will see these diagrams, wait, let me explain. First of all, let's start with the structure of the bone. See this. This is the bone. See this growth plate here. It is known as physis. This portion of the bone is epiphysis. This portion is metaphysis. And this is diaphysis. It is not given in NCERT, but it is important. We will discuss it in locomotion and movement. Epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis. So now when you look at the structure, can you see this inside the spongy part and the compact bone? Right? We divide bones like this, spongy and the compact. Spongy, the name is clear na bache? Sponge like, compact, tough, which is tough. So see here, the outer part is the compact bone, inner part is having some canal, so it is the spongy bone. Right? And when you talk about the coverings here, when you talk about the layers here, right? So outermost layer of your bone is periosteum. It is your periosteum. And in the bone here, in periosteum, we will talk about two layers, outer and inner. Right? We will talk about two layers, outer and inner. And here in this periosteum, here in this periosteum, as I said, what will you see? You will see two layers, outer layers and the inner layer. Outer layer and the inner layer. So that inner layer is having the cells, osteoblast cells, which are bone forming cell. And overall this periosteum will get what? It will contain the blood supply. Clear? It will contain the blood supply. And now in the bone itself, we will see two canals majorly, Habersian canal and the Walkman's canal. I will explain this portion to you. So just have a look. Outer portion, the compact part. Inner portion is your spongy part. Why? Because you will see these canals and all here. Clear, bache? And then inner to it, here you will see endosteum, and then the marrow. Right? There will be the bone marrow cavity. Like if I have to draw it, let me show you. Just see periosteum. Okay? And then innermost covering, endosteum, and here this is your marrow cavity. Right? Here you will get, if it is yellowish, yellow bone marrow, if it is reddish, red bone marrow. So outermost covering is your periosteum. Okay, and then here you will see Walkman's canal and Habersian canal. I will explain you this. And this layer which is covering this marrow cavity, it is endosteum. What is it? It is endosteum. Okay, what is it? It is endosteum. Okay, so see this spongy part and the compact part. So here you will see spongy part. These canals are there, right? So bache, one diagram is given in NCERT na, this. Can you see that in the diagram which is given in NCERT, you will see these concentric rings. Concentric rings means they are having the common center. Right? You will see such concentric rings. Can you see this? So this part, right? Just look at this longitudinal part. Just look at this longitudinal part of this bone. Bache, see, like this. In the bone, you will see such longitudinal canals. We call them as Habersian canals. What are they? They are the Habersian canals. Clear? These longitudinal part. And here, you will find the nerve supply and the blood vessels, of course. What will you see here? You will see the nerve supply and the blood vessel. And see, now these transverse canals which are linking to different Habersian canals, they are the Walkman canals. Fine, they are the Walkman's canal. Just suppose karo, there is a bone. Okay, this is a bone, right? You are taking a transverse section. You are taking a transverse section. So now when you look at the structure within, what will you see? You will see some longitudinal canals. So for that longitudinal canals, you use the word Habersian. Right? You use the word Habersian. Now, like this is one Habersian canal, this is another. So they are also linked together with the help of these transverse canals. They are the Walkman canals. Jaise ye dekho. This one is Habersian, this one is Habersian. And this one present in between is Walkman's canal. Clear? Clear? So when you look at this structure, right? So compare it with the diagram given in NCERT. You will see that these layers, because we see some concentric layers, na? We see the concentric layers. So that concentric layers are lamella. That concentric layers are lamina. And the cells which are present here, they are the osteocytes. They are the mature cells. Right? Osteoblast. Same in the case of cartilages. Osteoblasts, they will divide. They will form the matrix of the bone, and they are also going to form osteocytes, which are the mature cells. Clear? So this is how they are present, bache. Right? This is how they are present. So obviously this osteocyte is covered with the extracellular matrix, and in the form of these lamella, in the form of these concentric rings, they are present. Right? Compare this part with this diagram. Okay? So these are that osteocytes, and these concentric rings are nothing, they are the lamellae. So this is the inner part of that bone. Okay, it is nothing, it is that inner part of that bone. Are you getting it? Yes or no? So middle may you have the Habersian canal, right? Then lamellae, and then they are having these osteocytes. Okay? See, these layers are lamellae. These cells, they are osteocytes. Right, bache? Right? And this one, this middle part is nothing, it is the Habersian canal. It is the Habersian canal. And osteocytes in their surrounding, you know that extracellular matrix is there, and we also use the word canaliculi for it. Right? Canaliculi for it. Just mark it. Done. So these are the lacuna lacuna, the space where your osteocytes are present, and surrounding में small canals, they are the canaliculi. Okay, okay, so it is important. Fine बच्चे, it is important. Done. Clear? So this is what you need to note down, that presence of Hebbersian canal is a unique character of mammalian compact bone. It's a unique character of mammalian compact bone. Fine, that's important. It's a unique character of mammalian compact bone. Done, bache. So osteocytes are also present in lacuna. They are interconnected by cytoplasmic processes, that is your canaliculi. And inner to it is endosteum, which is lining your bone marrow cavity. Okay, which is lining what? Which is lining your bone marrow cavity. Done, bache. Sure? Is it clear? So bache, same way in the case of bones also, you will see osteoclasts which are going to destroy the bone cells. Fine. So that is how you need to remember it. Okay. So where are these osteocytes present? They are present in lacunae. Like this is your osteocytes, and these cytoplasmic processes of these lacunae, they are basically your canaliculi. So I have added the diagrams, bache. So I will share the PDF in the Telegram group so that you will get an idea of this. So these longitudinal canals are Hebbersian. These transfers are Workman canals. So Hebbersian canal is a unique feature of the mammalian compact bone. And here even I have added the difference in bones and cartilage also. Right? 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 So bones are compact or spongy, classified into long, short, flat, irregular, and sesamoid. So sesamoid bones. This is very interesting, right? Your kneecap, patella is sesamoid bone. Okay, so do check it, the meaning of sesamoid bone. Wrist bones are also the sesamoid bones, wrist bones. So that's your homework, and you are going to write down, you will write down the definition of the sesamoid bone in the comment section. That's your homework. Okay, that's your homework. Fine, so the differences are mentioned here, bache. So I will share it with you. I will share this with you. Take all the differences of bones and cartilages I have already mentioned. So this is what you need to study. Fine. So that's it. That's all. Even in this PDF also, see dense, regular, irregular, tendons, ligaments. I have explained everything to you, right? The next to it is muscles, bache. So muscular tissue and the nervous tissue. Muscular tissue and the nervous tissue in detail, you know that we will discuss it with the human physiology with that chapters, like muscles in the locomotion and movement, and nervous tissue in the neural control and coordination. So muscles basically they are mesodermal in origin. We have few exceptions which are ectodermal in origin. Otherwise they are mesodermal in origin. So three type of muscles basically we discuss: skeletal muscle, cardiac muscles, and the smooth muscles. And when you talk about the skeletal muscle, the basic unit of contraction is sarcomere. So this part will be covered there. Okay, this part, because it is related with your human physiology, so it will be covered there. And in nervous tissue, you know that nerve cells are present. So longest cell, it is the longest cell of the human body. So that's it. That's all, bache. So do revise it properly and attend the classes properly. That's what I can say. Just a minute. So see this. So what you have to do, just go to the description box. Okay, just go to the description box. And here, bache, see, your HSP sir has started one very amazing batch, and it is chemistry mind maths by HSP sir. You know that no one can beat HSP sir in tricks. Okay, so strong your chemistry and join this batch. What you have to do, you just need to click there, and you can see the price also is very less. It is just for 1999 and 2000 rupees. You are going to master your chemistry with the help of mind maps. So it is very, right, minimum amount. Okay, it's a minimum amount. So please go and be the part of this batch, right, and revise your syllabus properly. You still have sufficient time, bache. I have shared one strategy video with you all, right, that how to score very good in biology and how many days are left and how to manage all the three subjects together. So do check that strategy videos. Fine, do check that strategies videos. And moreover, in the comment section. What you have to do, you just need to tell me that how much you like this session, okay, and which chapter you want to start next. So that's it, that's all. So after, I think at 6 p.m. your Wasim sir is going to take the class. So till then, take a rest, revise the things properly, make the short notes as well, and be regular, be consistent, okay.